Hi, it's me again, Marcus from Horntools. Welcome back to our video series on winches. Today, I want to talk to you about snatch blocks. There are a number of different ways we can use them, from simply redirecting the pull when I want to move a vehicle or even my own vehicle in a different direction than my anchor point, to the more complex topic of effectively doubling the pulling power of the winch. This is particularly useful if I want to protect my winch or if my winch is reaching its operational limit and I really need a few extra kilos of force to pull myself out of a situation or to pull out another larger, heavier vehicle. I'll show you two ways to use it now, and I hope you enjoy the video. To double the pulling power of the winch, we need the following things: the tree strap, the snatch block, and the soft shackle, and of course our winch and the vehicle. I'll show you how to set the whole thing up. This process is very similar to how we set it all up before in our first video, where I explained in detail how to work safely with the winch. Naturally, we are going to use our tree strap once again, which is essential to protect the tree and the surrounding nature. Just wrap the strap nicely all the way around. Then we take our soft shackle with the snatch block. We simply hook everything together here again. Okay, so now we are ready to take the rope from our winch and carefully thread it through the pulley. We will then simply place the rope into the pulley, which is also known as the snatch block. Now this is very important. We need to hook the winch's hook back onto the vehicle to actually get double the pulling power. To do this, simply hook it into the tow eye at the bottom, which is designed for these loads. And now you can actually start pulling yourself out with double the pulling power. Just put it under tension again here. Of course, it's important again that the engine is running when operating the winch. My advice to you is, first put it under tension. Then get into the car to carry out the self-recovery, since you always have to check at the front at the snatch block to make sure the cable is really sitting in the pulley. Alright, now we're ready and we can start the recovery process. It's also very important to keep in mind when using a double pulley system. I halve my pulling speed, but in exchange I double my pulling power. However, I want to point out a small detail to you. So if I have in fact doubled the pulling power, then theoretically this means I should be able to pull 4.8 tons as opposed to my usual 2.7 or 2.4 tons. But there's a weak point in this setup, and I'll show you what it is now. Let's assume the scenario where I want to pull out a bigger car with my Jimny, one that weighs more than my own vehicle, what my winch is capable of. Then I set up a pulley system, so what that means is I have approximately 2 tons of pulling force on this rope and another 2 tons of force on that rope, and that is how my winch can handle it. Since I've attached it back to the car, I effectively have the load acting on the winch. However, with the pulley, we have exactly the problem that up to 4 tons, or depending on the weight of the other vehicle, even more force can act on this single point. That means I would be overloading my rope, which might work in an emergency. You always have to watch out. If the rope starts getting thinner, I have to stop, then it won't work anymore. Afterwards, make sure to thoroughly inspect the rope, because once it has been overloaded, it should actually be taken out of service. It's always very important to keep this in mind when doubling the pulling force. I'm putting much more strain on my rope than I actually intended, always concentrated at a single point. That can, of course, become a problem. Now let's assume for a moment that our friendly neighbor, the farmer, has gotten himself stuck in his field and we just want to help him out quickly by freeing his car a little bit. So with our Jimny, we think we can certainly manage it because we really only need to pull a small amount so he can get back onto solid ground. The main problem we are facing here, however, is that I have a road running parallel and the car isn't positioned straight, so I can't pull him out directly. I have to work with a redirect. I'll show you now how that works. From the last setup we still have here, The rope with the tree strap, the soft shackle, and the snatch block. We can use it exactly as it is right now. For this particular application, I personally still find it better to use a soft shackle because it's considerably more convenient and I don't scratch anything on the vehicle itself. Because we are now looking to recover the other vehicle, we will no longer be attaching our hook back to our own car, but instead directly to the vehicle that requires recovery. Just hook it into the soft shackle again, making sure that the latch is closed. Briefly put the rope under tension again so we can be sure it's properly seated in the snatch block. It's important in a situation like this, as we have here, that our winch is only an aid for recovery. The vehicle, of course, is much heavier than our own vehicle. Our winch is actually too small to pull the vehicle. That's why in this case, someone always has to be in the vehicle and help out with the wheels. Normally you're with at least 2 people anyway if you have 2 vehicles here. But today I'm here with my cameraman Thomas, so we have 2 vehicles. I'm alone, so I just put it in neutral and release the handbrake to show you the principle of redirection. As we can see, the whole thing works perfectly. If someone is sitting in the vehicle now, has engaged 4-wheel drive and locked the differentials, then the car will get free again without any problems. That's all for this topic. I hope you had fun. Tune in again next time. I'm looking forward to seeing you.